Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of From a Certain Point of View. And this week has been crazy with episode seven rumors. A lot of stuff going on. Um, they're saying Tom Cruise might be in episode seven. I'm Facebook friends with Derek Lyons, who was the medal bearer in A New Hope, as well as Nick Joseph. And he just said on Facebook that Tom Cruise will be in episode seven. I don't know if it's a joke or if it's real. Definitely be interesting to see if Tom Cruise would be in there. They're saying it'll be a cameo. To have like an actor, an A-list actor like that be in Star Wars, it doesn't happen that often. We had Samuel Jackson in the prequels, Natalie Portman when she first started Star Wars. She wasn't the household name that she is now. So my point is that there haven't been too many like major A-list actors in Star Wars. There've been a few, but not a lot. So especially for a cameo role, that would be interesting. But what are your thoughts on that, Fernando? Oh yeah, by the way, I'm joined today by Fernando. Thanks for joining.
Oh, no problem. Glad to be on.
Oh yeah, so what are your thoughts on if Tom Cruise would be in Star Wars Episode 7 as a cameo role or more prominent role?
Hopefully all we hear is his voice. That's about it. Hopefully not something around the couch and go, woo, I'm in love. But I doubt anything like that.
Oh, oh, the Oprah thing. Okay, it took me a second to understand that. Yeah, that's funny.
I'm in love. Yay.
Okay, so for anyone listening that because me and Fernando might be older than some of our viewers, like 9 or 10 years ago when Tom Cruise was on Oprah's show, which is no longer on the air. Oprah's show is over. He was very ecstatic and about expressing his love for Katie Holmes at the time. So that's what Fernando's referring to. But yeah, so what else is going on? Simon Pegg might be in Star Wars Episode 7. This was a rumor that was reported earlier on this week, and then I believe yesterday or the day before, Anthony Daniels, who plays C-3PO, said on Twitter that he was talking to Simon Pegg on set, and they talked about some kind of spoof that Simon Pegg did about C-3PO and R2-D2 a couple of years ago. Um,
That one was funny.
yeah, Anthony Daniels called him a silly boy or something like that, but then said that he was a genius. Um, so, Fernando, what are your thoughts on if Simon Pegg were to be in Star Wars Episode 7? Oh, and by the way, he's no stranger to the Star Wars universe. He's a huge Star Wars fan himself, as well as providing the voice of Dengar in Star Wars: The Clone Wars in Season 5. So, Fernando,
Uh, yeah, we already discussed this, but yeah, my biggest complaint is that I'm a big fan of his, love his work that he's done, but I don't like that he's a guy who vocally hates the prequels, even though he was in the prequels, the era that he hates in Star Wars: The Clone Wars as Dengar.
right.
But I'm a big fan of his, but I'm not a big fan that he kind of feels like he's getting rewarded for a guy who talked trash about the prequels, hating it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I could get. Oh, sorry, what were you gonna say?
No, no, no. I was just going. I was just clearing my throat.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I could definitely understand what you're saying. Um, Everyone's entitled to their opinion, so if he doesn't like the prequels, that's fine. But um, from what I've heard some people say, like he's very vocal about it, and it's kind of like he kind of
Oh,
relentlessly
now,
bashes
now
them.
I remember.
What
Now
was?
I remember something.
Oh, okay.
Either I heard it on Rebel Force Radio that for some reason there's a tweet picture by Simon Pegg holding apparently a peg warmer of Ben Quads and Arrows from the 2012 line, which I'm sorry, he he was not a peg warmer that year of the vintage collection, and he pretty much gave it the middle finger.
Wow, yeah, I mean Ben Quadraneros, I saw him a lot, but I didn't see him too much. I mean, the two figures that really pegged warm were the Naboo Royal Guard was kind of pretty bad, but it was Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon, especially Qui-Gon. I don't know why. I mean, it's a great figure, but this is a completely different subject. But the Phantom Menace wave was just. It wasn't that it wasn't a good wave. It was a very good wave. It had a bunch of different figures.
It was a really good wave. I
Yeah,
got the Emperor Palpatine in that set.
yeah, it was just grossly overproduced. And, no
Yeah.
matter what trilogy or time period in Star Wars you're dealing with, if just grossly overproduce figures, it's going to happen. I mean, that's what happened with the Empire Strikes Back vintage collection wave that came out, the first wave of the vintage collection that came out in
Oh,
2010.
I had no complaints there. They just overdid it on the episode one. They way overdid it.
Yeah, but they also overdid it with Empire Strikes Back as well, and that's why years later people could still find Dengar or for Lam for LOM or Zuckuss and a couple of other characters that were released in that wave because that's what generally happens with waves with Hasbro. The first wave of something, they produce a lot of it. Like with Mission Series and Saga Legends, you could still find.
Or else they underproduce.
Yeah. Um, but getting back to the movies and whatnot, yeah. So a lot of people are very vocal about how they don't want Simon Pegg to be in Star Wars Episode 7. I mean, I guess I'll just say I could understand both sides. I'm not really sure where I stand. All I know is that um, I really liked Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead. They're two really funny movies. Him and Nick Frost were in both of those movies, and they're really great. Paul was kind of disappointing. I didn't really like it that much. It had some funny parts, but what'd you think about Paul?
Never seen it. I
Really?
know what it is. Never seen it.
Yeah, it was one where Seth Rogen voiced the alien. Uh, but so I guess it'll be interesting to see how these rumors pan out. Will Simon Pegg be in Star Wars Episode 7? Will Tom Cruise be in Star Wars Episode 7? I mean, the rumors are just ridiculous right now. They're totally insane, and we have plenty more of them to talk about. There was a rumor that Night Sisters or some type of Sith are going to be in Star Wars Episode 7 as well as Mandalorian warriors. Okay, yeah, the other name were Jedi hunters. So Night Sisters are Jedi hunters. Let me pull up the information here. But yeah, supposedly they're going to be these Jedi hunters that worship the Sith and want to resurrect them and hate the Jedi. And Luke has been fighting them for 20 or 25 years, and he's exhausted. And supposedly he's going to go into exile and hide on Tatooine. And then they're anticipating or predicting that Daisy Ridley and Oscar Isaac, or was it John Boyega's characters, are going to search for Luke, similar to how Luke sought out Obi-Wan. What do you think about those rumors, Fernando?
It's a little iffy, so I accept. For me, the Night Sister thing, I really accept because it kind of, we saw a little bit of it in the Clone Wars. And also there's the Mandalorian rumor too, which I'll be like, please, okay, bring it on. I'll take that.
Yeah, definitely.
But I'll take that any day of the week. Um, with Jedi Hunters and having saying that Luke's been fighting them for years, it's pretty crazy.
Crazy in a good way or in a bad way?
A little bit of both. Because if I remember, but of course, none of it is canon now, pretty much. I played the video game, maybe just Jedi Hunters, they might be like Dark Jedi, they might call it. Played a game called, it's the sequel to the very good video game, Dark Forces, which I played the sequel. I played that one and I played the sequel, Dark Force Jedi Knight. And the player, apparently Kyle Katarn, the man was also finding the Death Star plans, and setting into Princess Leia into Tactic 4, had to deal with 7 Dark Jedi, and the one that looks like the main villain called Jared, who kind of looks like Rick Foreman, but Sith look, which looks pretty sick, is the leader of 7 Dark Jedi. But yeah, I wouldn't mind. But we'll just have to wait and see. But Mandalorians, please, and the Night Sisters, oh please, let me have more.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Mandalorians have been a fan favorite for decades at this point. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not too hard to believe that that is plausible. As far as the
Mm-hmm.
Night Sisters go, they're very popular in the Clone Wars, and a pretty, it's a unique and different type of group to have in Star Wars. It's very much inspired by, it's pretty dark. It's very much inspired by kind of like witches, obviously, and whatnot. Kind of like the occult, I guess. That's the word I would use.
But
Um, Pretty creepy stuff. So, like Mother Talzin. Her voice is very disturbing. Um, and also, some people are speculating that Gwendolyn Christie. I found out that Gwendolyn Christie, she's on Game of Thrones. I don't think I've ever seen any of her work before. I might have, but I just didn't know it. She's 6'3". I mean, I'm 6'1" or 6'2". 6'2", and I'm a guy. I'm a guy. So, and usually I'm taller than most of the guys that I see. I mean, so for a woman to be taller than me like that, that's definitely intimidating. So for her character, and Mother Talzin is very tall. So people are speculating that Mother Talzin, Gwendolyn Christie might portray Mother Talzin, and
if
that
not, it could be pretty cool. She'd be a tough mom.
yeah, I mean, someone was telling me on Game of Thrones that she wears like the medieval knight armor,
Oh,
and someone they assume that she's a man, and then she lifts up her mask, and it's like I'm a lady, so that's pretty funny. Um,
oh no, she came up, no.
yeah, and people are speculating that uh, Lupita, is that how you say her name?
Yeah,
I haven't heard anyone say her name out loud yet, but yeah, they're speculating that she might play Asajj Ventress. And I looked at a picture of her and a picture of Asajj. Somebody placed them side by side, and they
someone
definitely.
actually did a sketch.
What was that?
Someone actually did a sketch.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I'm referring to. And that's just crazy. Like she definitely could play her. Like they have similar facial features, like a very angular face, like jowls and everything. So I could definitely picture her portraying her. So
I thought she might get voice dubbed.
you think she might get voice dubbed?
Mm-hmm.
Which
Well,
is, oh sorry.
unless her voice be like that.
Yeah, I mean that would be interesting though because we know they've done that before with Dave Prowse and Ray Park,
Mm-hmm.
but Dave Prowse and Ray Park were hired because, well, Dave Prowse was hired because, of his imposing stature, his height for Darth Vader, and then Ray Park was hired for his extraordinary martial arts skills for the Darth Maul fighting scenes. So they're actors, but not like in the traditional like acting sense. Their physical abilities are what created the character. Um, but so to take like an Oscar-winning actress like her and then have her voice dubbed over, that would I'm not sure if they would do that. I mean, it's possible, but what do you think?
I mean, I haven't heard her movie. I haven't seen it.
What, 12 Years a Slave?
Yeah, I haven't seen that movie.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Um,
But she
I don't
is,
know, but if her voice doesn't work, I would say Nika Futterman.
yeah, that's interesting. I mean, like,
If they can't get Nika Futterman, um, they should get the one who voiced Ventress in the Gingy series.
oh yeah, I forget her name. Do you remember her name?
I forgot her name, but she also did the voice of Padme, apparently, which everyone gets Cat Caber confused with. But,
Yeah.
but
And
for some reason, we determined that those stations were still alive. I'll be pretty sick.
what if Talzin and Asajj were both still alive? Yeah, and also this reminds me of the Darth Maul son of Dathomir, because Mother Talzin has a very prominent role in that. I know you haven't read that yet, so I won't really say any more. But it's
There's
a
both issues, but I'll be reading it in the next, I think, probably a day or two.
yeah, you're gonna love them. They're great, and Mother Talzin has a very prominent role in that series, so it would be interesting to see. I guess we'll find out shortly. There's only two more issues left, so if something happens to her in the final issue, I guess that'll kind of put.
Well, we discovered that she survives, then she's legit alive. And
Yep.
it has been proven by Disney. I mean, that's another thing. Um, they have officially said the one book that has to do with dealings, the graphic novel, I forgot what it's called, that just recently came out. I forgot the name of it. It's a new book that just came out. It has something it's about the B-Wings or that were headed to the I forgot what it was, but it's the first official canon book of Star Wars. Of course, the first book is going to be the one that has to do with the Rebels, but being underplayed is that one book that has to do with the story about the B-Wings, and now Son of Dathomir is the other comic that is canon with the current Disney thing that they're doing right now.
Oh, cool.
And of course, our first novel that will be Del Rey that will be officially canon will be the prequel to the Rebels series, which has Hera and
Oh, Dawn of the Jedi, or I mean, no, Dawn of the Empire.
another one. No, Heir to the Jedi unfortunately got pushed back a month, and so did the one with Darth Vader and Palpatine. I just read that they just got pushed back a month. So instead of February, it'll be March for Heir of the Jedi.
Oh yeah, Heir to the Jedi. Yeah. So what else is there for episode 7? So like it,
You did mention something about you told me about potential stormtroopers.
right. Yes, this article, I think it was posted on Latino Review. It says that, okay, quote, reports from set claim to have spotted some black and silver chrome troopers. We haven't been able to confirm if these troopers were Mandalorians or just a new group of Imperial stormtroopers. So another thing that people are speculating and that there's rumors about, a lot of people think that the Empire didn't necessarily end right after the events of Return of the Jedi. Yes, the second Death Star was blown up, yes, the Emperor was killed, and thusly Darth Vader in the process of that because he sacrificed himself for his son. But there's an entire empire out there, you know, and this is something that was even joked about in like the second Star Wars Robot Chicken special. At the very end credits. I don't know if you remember that.
I was gonna bring that part up. Funny, I was gonna use. This cracks me up. That I was gonna bring that reference into your. That we're getting a nod for Robot Chicken, which to me is the gay one, not the Family Guy. That they mentioned, well, let's attack them now. No, they beat us. They beat us again. No, we still have the time. Well, what happened the first time before? Well, Darth Vader and the Emperor weren't there. Now they took us out for. We have masses of armies around the galaxy.
Yeah.
Which makes sense, and even in the book, which fortunately we don't know if the Thrawn trilogy is canon anymore, but that book series shows that the Empire was still there, it's still run by other people, just the main two are gone, Vader and Palpatine.
Right.
In short.
Yeah, that was a funny scene. So yeah, a lot of people are speculating that maybe the Empire still exists, but we don't have the Emperor anymore. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see if these rumors wind up being true or not. I mean, when the prequel trilogy came out, I wasn't really on the internet at all. I was just a kid, so I wasn't keeping up with any of these rumors and stuff. I just remember hearing like, what was that?
We were on speed dial.
Yeah, right.
Annoying thing.
So I guess that's pretty much, well, except for some news that was dropped this week. Rian Johnson, who wrote and directed Looper, will be writing and directing Star Wars Episode 8. Some people were surprised by this, but Fernando, you're probably going to agree with what I'm saying. Maybe, maybe not. I wasn't surprised because, if you think about it, the original trilogy, each movie had a different director. Obviously, the first one, George Lucas. Second one, well, not the second one. The fifth episode, Empire.
Well, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, the fifth episode, Empire.
The follow-up movie was done by the legendary Eric Kirshner. The third one was by
Richard Marquand. Yeah, so Marquand. Yeah, so each respective original trilogy movie had its own director. Supposedly, Rian Johnson's going to be directing the ninth installment as well. So that's interesting. But yeah, George Lucas, as we know, directed all three prequels. So I guess people might have forgotten about.
my George Lucas sound. Oh, we're gonna pull him again. Oh.
Well, that's actually, well. Can you say something else? That's actually pretty good.
Oh yeah, I never saw Looper, but don't get me wrong, I heard all the buzz from that movie.
Yeah, I actually haven't seen it yet, but I definitely want to check it out now.
It's a game changer. A lot of fans like those movies.
Wait, can you say something else in your? Oh, sorry. What were you saying?
So that a lot of people love that movie. They're like, that is a fantastic movie.
Well, I mean, I remember seeing the trailer when I forget what movie I saw. I think it was maybe The Dark Knight Rises. I remember seeing the trailer, and it's definitely an interesting concept. But yeah, I definitely have to check it out now that it's the same director that's going to be making a Star Wars movie. Oh, something else. Gareth Edwards is going to direct a Boba Fett movie, and Tamora Morrison supposedly is going to play Boba Fett. What, did you hear about that?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm really happy that Tamor Morrison would play Boba Fett. I really like Daniel Logan too, but Boba Fett, it makes more sense for. This is just my opinion. It makes more sense for Tamor Morrison to portray Boba Fett. Maybe they can work something in where like Daniel could play Boba Fett like at a younger age or something. But
Mm-hmm.
if they're gonna have Boba Fett be 35 plus 30 or 35 years of age over, it's got to be Tamora Morrison in my opinion.
How old is more? I'm wondering now.
But yeah, so that's great news if it's true. I'd be very happy. I
I'm fine with it, but understand eventually Morrison won't be able to play it, so that's how eventually they'll pass the torch to Daniel. As much as people are like, oh, they should just kill off Boba Fett, blah, 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 blah. Just have a guy with no name, because they're like, the Boba Fett's not canon. I'm sorry, Clone Wars shows that is the Boba Fett, so fine. Loser.
yeah, yeah, I see what you're saying. But so I guess now we'll move on to Rebels. So Star Wars Rebels, there was a report online that supposedly Rebels might premiere on September 30th, 2014. I believe that's supposed to be a Tuesday, and that's kind of strange because Rebels was reported as it's supposed to be a Saturday morning cartoon on Disney XD, so that would be kind of strange if it premiered on a Tuesday. I'm gonna look that up right now to see.
What day was it again?
September 30th, and I just looked at my calendar on my iPad, and September 30th, 2014 is a Tuesday.
It is Tuesday. Really hot.
Yeah, and Rebels is supposed to be a Saturday morning cartoon.
What are they doing?
Yeah, and Rebels is supposed to be a Saturday morning cartoon, so that would be weird.
That's for sure. I mean, if you got the 8 o'clock time slot, that'll be fine, but the only problem is, well, it's not like a kid's show competing with an adult show, because the 8 o'clock Tuesday during that time is against NCIS.
Yeah,
It's usually one of the highest programming things ever. It'll be totally funny and crazy at the same time. It's like, what are you doing now? I gotta scratch my head for a second. I'll be cool with that, and I'm surprised it's not. Well, let's hold till judgment. This is just a report on anything. If it does go a weekend, I hope that Disney thinks about doing a weekend, because guess what? Now let's go back to Clone Wars. It just won 2 awards on the Emmy again.
yeah,
This is huge. They won 2 more awards after getting their first one last year. For getting best thing, but I forgot the whole thing. It's a weird title. It should be best animated show. And I forgot which one they won. I think they won one of those and then another one too.
yeah. Okay, so this rumor is a direct TV listing. Um, and it's some more information for Rebels. We found out that Ezra was born in the first year of the Empire, so that's pretty interesting because that means that I guess that's supposed to have yeah, I guess that's supposed to have some like poetic ring to it and some significance because he doesn't know anything else. He was born into this oppression. And also something I just realized by reading that if Ezra was born the year that the Empire started, that means that he's the same age as Luke and Leia because Luke and Leia were born, at that same time too. So Ezra is the same age as them.
I know the tossing is out there, but wouldn't it be funny if Ezra did meet up with Leia one time and then Luke?
Ezra meeting up with Leia, I wouldn't be against because Leia is like, involved in the whole diplomatic scene because of who Bail is. But Luke is kind of just supposed to be on like, if there's a bright center to the universe, I'm on the planet that is farthest from. Like Luke is just supposed to be
Really?
on like this total like backwards planet that is like a hole in the wall in the overall scheme of things in the galaxy in the universe. So if you met up with
I mean, there's
Luke,
a chance you might see him in the T-16, the bigger canyon.
yeah. But if you met up with Luke, I wouldn't be. I mean, as of right now, I wouldn't be too interested in that, and I can't really see myself, really liking that too much. But if you met up with Leia, I wouldn't have a problem with that at all because, like I said, Leia is very involved in everything. She gets around because of who she is. She's a senator's daughter, so she goes, she visits places. So maybe she'll visit. They could definitely run into each other. I could definitely see that happening. But as far as Luke goes, I'm not too keen on that. But also, something else says Sabine makes artwork with her explosives, and this I could definitely confirm. I'm sure you can too, because at Star Wars weekends they had that exclusive clip. Did you see that?
Hmm?
The exclusive clip for Sabine at Star Wars weekends on weekend two.
Yeah, I saw a little bit from YouTube. I didn't physically get to be there because
Uh,
technically I was kind of blocked out.
somebody taped it. That's bad.
But
They did the Jedi
that's when
mind
they were
trick to
being
tell us not to tape it.
that was when they were being very strict because the first week the video with Hera showed up a lot on YouTube and Disney was blocking a lot as much as they could
Oh, really?
because they want to make sure these videos are exclusive for only attendees at weekends.
Yeah, I mean, last year that
Uh-huh.
whole the whole scene with Yoda and Anakin helping him leave the hospital. That was everywhere. But this year, like you just said, they were very strict with weekends clips. They told
Uh-huh.
everybody to shut their cameras off, no taping it. So
Even when you were just reporting the actors on stage, it was being particular. I was like, what? And you're like, I'm just recording that.
yeah. What else do we have here? Oh, Obi-Wan's going to appear in the pilot, but only as a holographic recording. Okay, so I actually like this a lot because it's subtly making that transition from Clone Wars to Rebels, and we're going to have a character that we're all actually familiar with. We've been familiar with since day one, Obi-Wan, obviously, because he was in A New Hope. So we're going to be introduced to all these characters. So unless we see Darth Vader in the pilot episode, we're going to
It's
be,
going to be like, game over, it's over, man, it's over.
yeah, it's going to be all these characters that we've never seen before. So it's going to kind of be,
Vader's going to stop. Mark my words, I believe Vader will show up maybe the first episode, but definitely that movie thing they're going to be showing.
yeah. I mean, but now that I'm thinking about it, like with Clone Wars, we had Obi-Wan since the very beginning in the movie. We had Obi-Wan and we had Anakin. Two characters that we were very familiar with at that point, especially Obi-Wan. And so we were introduced to a few different characters like Rex and Ahsoka, but we had those characters that we already knew, so we're already familiar with them. But it's kind of weird because with Rebels, we're going to be getting a completely different cast of heroes. So it's good to have Obi-Wan thrown in there just as like, a little Easter egg. Well, not an Easter egg, but just a little thing that's gonna kind of tie the trilogies together. You know what I'm saying? Like just
They're gonna feel more connected than if one person didn't show up that we're familiar with. They would just feel like this isn't the same universe.
exactly. It's just gonna make things tie together nicely, and even like subconsciously, maybe I don't know, but yeah, it's just gonna be cool to see someone that we already know and just a familiar face. It'll just be nice to see. But so yeah, what else do we have here? There's this character. Let me pull his name up. He sounds like he's going to be very similar to Hondo. Okay, he's a Devaronian named Vizago, Vizago, and there has been in that pamphlet that toy pamphlet, the same one that we found out that Obi-Wan was going to be in Rebels. It's a Hasbro pamphlet that shows off all the toys that are coming. Uh, Vizago was in there with a droid. I think it was an IG droid. So yeah, he's going to be like a local underground arms dealer, crime lord. So yeah, I mean that sounds a lot like Hondo. It would have been cool if maybe they could have just thrown Hondo in the series instead. But unfortunately,
You know what? There's still a chance. Trust me, there's a lot of stuff they're trying to keep away from us from saying, because they funny said there's a chance that you might see some characters you know that probably do exist show up again.
yeah, I'm just gonna throw this out there. I hope we don't see Saw. I'm sorry, I wasn't really a fan of Saw and Steela. That was probably the only Clone Wars. I mean,
Oh,
Saw and Steela from the Onderon arc in season 5 of Clone Wars.
wait, Saw and what?
Saw and Steela from the Onderon arc in season 5. You know the rebels. You know Ahsoka. That's when Ahsoka like
Oh, the group
Lux.
that she helped?
Yeah, that was when like
Yeah,
Ahsoka and
I don't think they'll show up. Don't even worry.
well,
You gotta
Steela.
understand that was just a rebellion, not the Rebel Alliance. This is similar to what this series is,
Yeah,
not the Rebel Alliance, because Filoni actually mentioned that. In, if you ever went to weekends, there's an opening intro where it's like, "Is this the group that started the Rebel Alliance?" No, that one cleared a lot of people's mind because everyone was just assumed. I remember hearing with Taylor Gray, back to Taylor Gray. A fan goes, "Hey, I thought Star Killer started the Rebel Alliance." Blah 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 blah.
yeah. I mean,
Totally went crazy.
yeah. I mean, also now there was the whole thing, that Star Killer's family crest was what became the Rebel Alliance logo, but now it seems like the Rebel Alliance logo might derive from Sabine's, graffiti tag
Mm-hmm.
because her graffiti logo is very similar to the Rebel Alliance logo. It's kind of like a bird, so I think that's where it's going to derive from. I think they're going to kind of axe the whole Star Killer family crest thing.
I wouldn't go that far yet. Not yet. Because so far, from what we heard, the series takes place 5 years before New Hope. Because as of last heard, the Force Unleashed 1 is still canon. It hasn't been said that it has been debunked yet. So there's a good chance it may show up again. Because to me, I don't like that. I would be really upset if for some reason the symbol we finally got a clarity in 2008, literally 31 years after the original film, to be, oh, this is where the family crest coming came from him. Because another reason that I think the Force Unleashed may still get involvement is because the ones who are working on this show had previously worked on the Force Unleashed.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But I mean, I can see it as a different symbol, but as we know, it came from two Jedi who literally did what these guys did, are renegades, and it came from his family crest. I don't want to be like, oh, that's why the symbol does look like it, but isn't.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. Also, another thing that we found out is that Kanan is in possession of a holocron.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that?
Awesome. He probably stole it from Cat Bane. No, he probably stole it from Cat Bane. But I'm only kidding.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty cool. Uh, as far as Kanan goes, I like the idea of a Jedi that uses a blaster. I mean, we've seen Jedi use blasters every once in a while. first thing that comes to mind immediately is Obi-Wan killing Grievous with a blaster, even though
Ah, you can't.
yeah,
Similar.
exactly, yeah, he like very begrudgingly did it. Like he did it because it was the only way he could, because and
His chest with the exhaust port that was more than 2 meters wide. Shoot
yeah, but so I like the idea of a Jedi that uses a blaster instead of his lightsaber all the time. So this is what I'm hoping does not happen. I hope it's not like Kanan just uses his blaster like the first one or two episodes, and then he's like, "Well, I'm a Jedi, so I'm not going to use a blaster anymore." I hope that if he stops using it, it's like a very gradual thing. Maybe that's part of like his overall character arc. Like I'm hoping that because we know that he's going to use the lightsaber. We see him assembling it while they're fighting Agent Callus, I think is his name. He's like to the stormtroopers, concentrate fire on that Jedi. Like he's like shocked to see a lightsaber. So,
it. Yeah.
which is another cool
I
thing.
think they're going to use him close to what Luke did in Empire Strikes Back. Remember, he wasn't walking in the corners with an active lightsaber.
That's a really good point.
He doesn't want to when it both. It's like
That's a good point, man. I mean, yeah, like Luke, it was a very gradual process, like you just said when he.
Another good example is the Dark Force games, Jedi Knight 2. You play Karakatan. Yeah, I mean, basically the weapon you want to have on you is the lightsaber, but there's certain times where you're like, I'm gonna need a blaster. I want to draw too much attention if I can.
Yeah, I mean, and like yeah, it's a good point as well. And like you just said, when Luke first arrived on Cloud City, he was using the blaster to sneak around and stuff. It's not like he was carrying his lightsaber around ignited. So that's a really good point. I like that. So hopefully Kanan, ultimately if he winds up solely using a lightsaber, I'm fine with that, but I hope it's like a gradual thing. Because if he just uses a blaster like the first one or two episodes, or only like the first half a season, and then he just starts using a lightsaber all the time, like I won't really. I don't think that's the best way to go. Because the main selling point for him, I think, is that he's like the cowboy Jedi. It's like if Han Solo was a Jedi. I mean, and I know a lot of people are saying I'm not really big into the expanded universe. I don't have anything against it, but I'm just happy with like the 6 films and Clone Wars. Like, I've never really delved too far into the expanded universe. The only thing I would, consider, well, until recently, the Force Unleashed was G-level canon, I think, right? But
It's still G level.
okay, yes, for
I still think the first one's still a G level canon because it was confirmed by George. Of course, the other one, other than the ones I mentioned, the other one that has been confirmed as canon in the book is Darth Plagueis.
all right. Well, don't worry. Here on From a Certain Point of View, the first Force Unleashed is canon still. Okay, so
It should still be. I don't know if I'm going to be like, hey, you did say it was canon. Come on. Don't go backwards on your thing. I'm still considering canon, no matter what. They just need to complete the trilogy and then we'll be fine.
yeah.
But that's another story for another time. But keep going.
Oh yeah, but so yeah, just to wrap up what I was saying before, what I think is like the real cool aspect of Kanan is that he's not your traditional conventional Jedi. Like he's a Jedi that will, use a blaster, and maybe he's less scrupulous than your other Jedi because he's kind of lost his way. And I think that's what's cool about him is that he's not just like, all the Jedi that we saw in the prequels and Clone Wars. And that definitely makes it, because when I first heard that they were going to have Jedi in Rebels, like some other people, I was kind of like, oh, really? I mean, because come on, like, you know, Luke is supposed to be like the only Jedi during that time, like Luke, Obi-Wan, and Yoda. Like, and I know in like the Force Unleashed, like Shakti was around very close until, the Battle of Yavin.
That would make it even more canon.
But
that chick actually did not get killed in Order 66. Of course,
Yeah,
there's already two death scenes that's been deleted scene on the DVD. You get the one with Grievous killing her, which was deleted. Another one which was a deleted scene, and then in the Blu-ray you have the one where Anakin killed her
yeah,
when he goes to the temple.
yeah.
How the
She,
heck she didn't sense him getting stabbed?
yeah, she has died a lot of times, that's for sure. But going back, so yeah, I mean, when I first heard that there was going to be Jedi and Rebels, other than Yoda and Obi-Wan, I was like, I was kind of iffy about that because the whole point, like A New Hope, that title, it's supposed to be like Luke is the new Jedi, like he's gonna bring back this elegant warrior knight class, of heroes. But now there's Kanan and Ezra's force sensitive, and it's just like whoa, like at first I thought that kind of took away from like the significance of Luke and whatnot. I don't feel that way anymore because these guys aren't like your traditional conventional Jedi. Like they're not going to be wearing like the robes and all that. At least not yet. We don't know what's going to happen. But so I like where they're going with this. So that's about it for Rebels rumors. Oh, and also they
Before
said.
we get out of that, well, I'll let you finish and then I'll say what I have to say.
Oh, no, it's cool. Say what you want to say.
I guess back to what you were saying where you got a little mad about, originally like, oh, there's more than just these Jedi. There's, understand this, there's a lot of Jedi during the Dark Purge of the original expanding universe before they were now known as of right now, the Legends. There was many Jedi that survived Order 66. Many during the big dark times. We were reading comics where Darth Vader was like ruthless and hunting down the remaining of the Jedi. Like it was mentioned in Obi-Wan, where there was tons of people that survived. Of course, the ones we know in the movies, as of right now, was Obi-Wan and Yoda were the main two of the movie canon. Were those two? There were still a ton more. Now we know Kanan is one of them because we assume since he's been trained as pretty much, I believe, an apprentice to a former Jedi that probably got killed during Order 66. There's always more. We might see Shakti finally. We
Yeah.
might see her now. We might see Ahsoka, especially hearing the line, which I mentioned a few episodes ago. Ahsoka will be seeing you soon. So it's thrown there as the biggest Easter egg. And I'm saying Ahsoka will show up, but I think she'll show up probably by season 2 or 3.
I agree. I think, Ahsoka is very much going to be like the Darth Maul of Clone Wars, and by that I mean it's going to be a huge character. It's going to be a huge deal for this character to come back. It's
The
going to be
more she does, we'll have our Clone Wars fans back,
yeah,
especially the demographic.
yeah. I mean, I definitely think it's going to happen, and like you said, it's not going to happen in season one because that would just be way too soon. We need a chance to familiarize ourselves with these new characters that we're just being introduced to.
A tease of an Easter egg would be pretty darn awesome.
What you mean, like how they had Darth Maul's head in the glass ball in Mother Talzin's place in season three?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean maybe we will get something like that. Like maybe um
We might see Rex. We might see some probably resistance left of whatever the clone army was. Um, Anything is possible. We might see Rex. We might see some characters. Because right now, Filoni is really being, I don't know what he does, trying to say, no, you may not expect to see these characters ever. That's exactly what he said about Mandalorians not being in Clone Wars. They show up in season 2.
right.
Well, he doesn't want to throw everything out there. That's why he doesn't want to go like, yeah, eventually we get Ben Cardeneros in to the show or something like that. You don't want to hold up expectations and then all of a sudden you have to cancel it or anything like that. But what you want to do, it's best for him not to stick to expectation because every year you have to set the bar up for each of the seasons.
Right.
Of course, one of the biggest complaints for the series so far is that it's going 16 episodes, and we're like, what? That's
Yeah.
the biggest complaint. But you know what? I'm fine with what they're going to do. I would love to be surprised. I would love to be continuously surprised. We don't even know how many seasons this series will go, but of course they're going to probably take, they're probably, I'm not even kidding, I think they're working already on season 2, but I think they're also doing ADR, just in case. Other than that, I'll be happy with the show. I will support the show. Um, and hopefully whatever leftover material Star Wars The Clone Wars that's out that has been done hopefully gets eventually the light of day, especially with E. Baker's mention, which will be pretty cool.
Yeah. I
But
mean,
that's pretty much it.
yeah. I mean, it would be great if we saw Rex. That'd be really cool. I think we're definitely going to see Ahsoka. I'd be extremely shocked that if by the end of Rebels run as a series, as a cartoon series, if we never saw Ahsoka on the show, I would be incredibly shocked. I'm not saying, you know, it's 100% going to happen, but I would be shocked. I'd say that it's probably like 99.99% likely that we're going to see Ahsoka on the show, whether it just be a little cameo or her having an entire arc, basically like Darth Maul did in season 5. You know, I think we're definitely, well, not definitely, but I think we're most likely going to see her. Uh, the Inquisitor. When will we find out more about the Inquisitor? I know me and you talked about this. I'm really hoping San Diego Comic Con, which is only a month away at this point, we get like an Inquisitor clip because that would be so cool. Basically, the only thing we've seen from him so far is when he was talking to Agent Callus, and he had like a 2 or 3 lines, not even, and you know
It is good to call. That's the only line that we heard. Other than that, I saw it as a clip where he was still a rendering, early stage rendering of him walking down a corridor talking, but you barely heard, there was no talking at all. It was just his hand wrist and then his lightsaber spinning. But
yeah,
yeah,
and
but
it.
my money, oh, go ahead.
Oh no, sorry, say what you're gonna say.
No, I'll say it after, don't worry.
Oh, okay, and it looks like from what we saw that his lightsaber might detach into 2 parts from what we've seen of a role-playing toy based on his
Yeah.
lightsaber.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Kind of like the Grievous one in 2010.
Right, and he he wears his lightsaber on his back, which is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. It is, and yeah, pretty much there will be an Inquisitor. They'll finally confirm who's the voice of the Inquisitor, which I think I said it to you, but Jason Isaac, who plays Lucius Malfoy, will be voicing the Inquisitor.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about that. Um, I think that would be a cool choice. I can't wait to, finally get like a definitive answer. And the Inquisitor, without a doubt, and this is going to sound like a very like typical, fanboy thing. Oh, I love Sith. But I do. Whatever I do, I love Sith. I love Mandalorians. Okay, so cliche, maybe, but I don't care. I am really excited about the Inquisitor. He's definitely my most anticipated part of Rebels and the Empire as a whole. I mean, ever since I'm younger, I've loved the Empire. I've loved, Darth Vader, Stormtroopers, the Emperor, TIE Fighters, Star Destroyers,
Even
all
though
that.
actual bad guys, we just love how they look. Just love.
Yeah, I mean, and it's just going to be great to see. Like, the CIS is cool, Grievous is cool, Battle Droids, awesome. But the Empire is, that's like from my childhood. Like, those are the bad guys. And so it's going to be really awesome to see Stormtroopers again. and TIE fighters and TIE fighter pilots. And I mean, do you think we're gonna see AT-ATs that in the first season? That would be so cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, all the stuff, just star destroyers, all that. It's just gonna be so awesome to see the Empire back again. You
A
know,
lot of things familiar.
yeah, I mean, it's gonna be so cool to see the Empire again. Hopefully, they get that Imperial March playing, and I don't know what else to say. I mean, I'm just really excited. I'm sure, you growing up with the original trilogy as well. It's just great to see the Empire back. And anything else you want to add to that?
Um, no, I'm excited about the show. Yeah, definitely there will be a clip. Although be more than a clip. Probably it might show an episode.
What at
Oh
Comic
my
Con?
God. My friend goes, so Tom Cruise cameo in episode 7 will be Jar Jar's grandson. No, I'm kidding.
Oh wow.
But, I see an update on, you know, I see clips. It's going to be very exciting. So, did you hear about this? Breaking news. Sources say George Lucas's Cultural Art Museum is coming to Chicago, which I'm very happy about.
Oh, that's cool.
But that'll be more news later. But yeah, that's fantastic. Um, what other things? Yeah, there's going to be clips. There'll probably be talks of episode 7 at the event too. So that will be a plus. So there'll be more of a discussion there too, which is fantastic. So that'll be a plus. I mean, of course, the Marvel stuff will be exciting.
Yeah.
DC, and then of course that's going to be a big deal for Marvel because we will find out more about oh gosh, I completely blanked. Oh wait, no, we'll find out the whole what is Marvel Comics going to do with Star Wars now that it as of August it's going to go back to Marvel.
Right. Yeah, that'll definitely be interesting.
Mm-hmm. Which is great. But
And
yeah, I think that's pretty much everything that I can think of.
oh yeah, and the only one more thing that I want to say about Rebels is that supposedly, as we all know from seeing the trailer, we see all those stormtroopers, and then behind them are a bunch of Wookiees. Uh, on some
Yeah,
website,
right.
I forgot which one. It said something like, "We're gonna learn the reason why Chewbacca was so offended when Luke tried to put him in binders on the Death Star." That was like the only thing I forgot.
Yeah.
But yes,
You know that was a sensitive thing.
what was it?
He's a farm boy. It's not his fault.
Yeah, right. But yeah, so on that
He's
note,
a farm boy.
yeah. Oh, can you say something else in your George Lucas voice that you said before that was really funny?
What? Completely blank. Something about Ben Cars and Arrows or something like that.
Oh, can you just say anything in your George Lucas voice? Because it was a pretty good impression.
You can put the film in there. Yeah. Find Kickster. Put him in the film.
Wait, go now faster and more intense.
Faster or more tough.
Oh, that is a great way to end the show. So on that note, thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for joining, Fernando. This has been another episode of From a Certain Point of View. Thanks for watching, everyone, and may the force be with you.